Welcome to the Mavens Do It Better podcast. And now, your host, Heather Newman.
Hello, everybody. Here we are again for another Mavens Do It Better podcast, where we interview extraordinary experts who bring a light to our world. I am super duper excited. I'm here today, coming to you from Marina Del Rey, to speak with Andrew Horn. And Andrew, hello.
Hi there. How are we doing?
We're doing well. Andrew runs a beautiful company called Tribute, and I met Andrew literally on Facebook from a friend, Shonda, who is a dear friend, I think, of yours and of mine.
She is indeed.
Yeah, who was talking about this awesome business you have. And so as we're all, depending on where you are, day or week 4, 5, 3, depending, with dealing with the coronavirus, there's a lot of people who are taking their businesses and figuring out what they can do to help. And so it's been great to see that, and we're seeing it all over the place. And Andrew's company has been doing that as well. So tell us a little bit about the company. I just think it's so neat. And I haven't done mine yet, but I will, I promise.
Well, we are here to support you when you have some time. I know you've been moving. So,
yes.
The easiest way to explain what a tribute is to explain the backstory of where it came from.
Yeah. And
so on my 27th birthday, my girlfriend at the time, who's my now wife, who will probably barge in here at some point, it's just a matter of time.
Yep.
So basically it was my 27th birthday, and I told my wife that I didn't want to do anything special. I just wanted to be low key. She took me out for a nice dinner. We went salsa dancing, and then I thought we were just coming home. When we get back to our apartment, I open the door, and then I look on the floor, and I see 20 pairs of random shoes that I've never seen before. And then it's almost like a countdown, like 3, 2, 1. And then everyone jumps out of the closets and like out from behind the walls. And it was all of my best friends in New York, and she had planned this big surprise party. So I was like, oh, great. It's great to see everybody. So we were hanging out, and about 20 minutes later, she asked everyone to get into the living room, and she puts me in the back of the room, and she puts this big kind of projection screen like up against the wall, and I have no idea what's going on. And she hits play on her computer. And what I would soon find out is that Mickey had reached out to 20 of my closest friends and family members. Wow. And she got each of them to submit a 1-minute video telling me why they love me and how it impacted their life. And so the first video is my mom talking about, how grateful she was for my support with their business. My dad telling me that he loves me, which I know he loves me, but he doesn't say those words that often. And then my friend Matt, who called me his best friend for the first time ever. And I had also felt that, but had never given it a voice. So it's like at this moment, just start bawling. And it was just overwhelming to feel this from the people who I cared most about, to be seen this way. And I just, for 15 minutes straight, I was just there bawling and like with my friends. And I come out of this and I look at my girlfriend and I was like, how did you do this? And she looks back at me and she says, well, it sucked. And I was like, what do you mean? And she says, well, it took 15 hours of, basically reminding these people hundreds of times through Facebook, text, collecting files through Dropbox and Drive and all these different places. And then last but not least, she edited it together in iMovie. And so, there I was. I had just received what was, without a question of a doubt, the most meaningful gift that I had ever received. And I heard firsthand how hard it was to create. And so I walked into the other room, and within 2 minutes, I had the name Tribute, and I knew that I wanted to share this with more people. Fast forward a year, I had connected with an incredible CTO and co-founder. Fast forward 2 years, we were out with an MVP. Fast forward 4 years, we'd raised a $1.3 million kind of like seed round. And then now to today, where basically our platform, which automates the process of building these meaningful tribute montages, we've created more than 300,000 for our users, everything from birthdays to weddings to graduations to funerals to everything from, we work with people like MD Anderson and the Cleveland Clinic. So basically getting people who are in the midst of chemo, the support and love of their families, clinically proven to boost their immune system and ability to deal with trauma and heal themselves. We did a large campaign last year with a healthcare firm to get tributes to people with dementia. So you imagine people who are literally losing their memories of who they are, and we're creating these videos of their family members and their loved ones who are reminding them. So every single day, in some cases, they can watch this video. Wow. That is people not just saying like, here's who you are, but here's who you are to me, and reflecting that back. And so it was about 2 weeks ago, we had this big shift. So that's what Tribute does. And then you talked about our response to COVID-19. And we started to see all these stories coming through our support platform of why people were creating Tribute. And there was a guy who was not able to go into the delivery room or the hospital with his wife because of physical distancing precautions. And then there was a guy who was going in for the last round of chemo, couldn't have his wife or his family members. And then we started to think about graduations of, over 2 million students who aren't going to be able to have their moment to walk across the stage. And we just realized that now more than ever was a time where it's important for us to support one another in meaningful ways. And so we decided to make our basic Tribute package completely free for anybody who's been impacted by Corona. And we've been doing this for 6 years. It's something that we care so deeply about that changed my own life. And we've had kind of an unprecedented surge in traffic over the past 2 weeks. And so it's nice to be able to see people buying into it, but also to be able to contribute in a way that we really care about.
Yeah, that's amazing. First of all, thank you for that. I mean, it's so great. And yeah, I've had friends and that, had people, I don't know. So I think it's the winter time sometimes, but they had like people in their lives pass away. And so a lot of them were about to do celebration of life or funerals and all of that. And we talked a lot about that, about how do you can't gather, so how do you do? And so I've sent this to so many people because I was like, this is amazing, so thank you for doing it, first of all. And what a story. Yeah. What a great, how creative and wonderful your wife is.
Well, she is on many levels. She's a prolific entrepreneur and marketing genius. So it was not surprising that she inspired that one.
Yeah, but it is, the thing is I think the thing that you point out from my technology brain, and I go through this too, is that I just had a birthday party with a friend, and I was trying to, think about, and I didn't know about your company yet. So, and I wish I had, because I would have suggested that, but it was like even sending a letter or a card or, trying to get to everybody where they are. That's the other thing. Like, some people are Facebook Messenger, some people are WhatsApp, some people only text message, some people you have to call, other people are this and other people are that. Like, gone are the days when you could email somebody and know that most likely you were going to get them, right? Sure. Like, it's the disparate systems of connection. And will you talk a little bit about the technology of how it works? So I'm going to go sign up and use my wonderful code. And what happens? Walk us through it, will you?
Yeah, totally. So Tribute right now is a mobile responsive website. And so everything that happens is through our web app. We're going to be launching a mobile app later this year that is actually really kind of the evolution of Tribute and a completely new product, which we can talk about later. Cool. But we say that Tribute really happens in 3 steps. So you would just go to our website and let's say, look, so who's one of your best friends that maybe you'd want to create a tribute for when you have enough time?
Allison.
Okay, so Allison's birthday is coming up. So you would
It just was.
It just was? Well, hey, we can do kind of like these backdated tributes for sure.
Yeah.
So you would go to our site and you, in 60 seconds, can create a page, tribute.co/Allison. And you select your due date. You get to customize that page with pictures. You get to select 2 prompt questions that you want people to answer about them. And then you have that URL, which you just talked about being able to send out through all those different messaging mediums, whether that's through Messenger, whether that's through Slack, whether that's through email or text message. And what we also do that's really important is that we automate the reminders, because something we've seen with our technology is, as much as you want people to do something right when you send it out, about 80% of our videos get submitted on the day before, day of, and day after. Right. And so people certainly love a deadline. But what's cool is that we have streamlined this process. So regardless of where people are uploading their video, what type of video file it is, we built this video ingestion technology that automatically takes those videos from any platform, systemizes, streamlines, and maintains the original quality as much as possible. And then what we do is we remind those people, collect those videos, and then those go into our video editor that built in-house, which is to this day one of the only true collaborative video editors where you can easily collect footage from a group of people and compile that and edit that together. And so, yeah, it was really kind of the most complex and cumbersome part of our build out as a company, but a really fundamental piece to being able to create this soup to nuts turnkey experience for people who are there, which has been great. And then what's we also have available is outside of the technology is that we built up this incredible team of editors around the world who can work with our customers. So if you don't have time to do it yourself, you can hire a concierge to compile the video, with professional video editors who are working for all sorts of brands to create these finely tuned marketing videos, promotional videos out of the footage that you collect. But so it's that 3 steps. You just basically create your page, you invite your friends, collect videos, and edit them together. And then you have this beautiful montage that you'll have as a keepsake forever.
That's amazing and wonderful. I mean, how cool is that? Wow. I wanted to ask you about the video editing piece, because that seemingly, like, do you remember when it was like $50,000 to create a 2-minute video?
Sure.
Right? Sure. And I worked in event production for a long time, and have been in marketing forever. And it's just, and now with the gig economy, things are different, but it's still trying to use Video Leap or Adobe Rush or that kind of stuff. It still takes time, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think one of the biggest benefits, there's so many benefits to what you're doing, but it's just the time. Like, I love taking videos and stuff, but like when I get away from it, a lot of times then I'm like, oh my goodness, I never did the one for when we went to New Zealand or whatever. So, I mean, I bet just that alone amongst everything else is such a huge component of what you do. And so you have different flavors, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing that I would say, this is even for the people who are involved or running big brands, is when you think about what is a quality video, and you could have a video that was produced by an amazing videography team that has massive budget and animations and illustrations and all this other stuff. But also, I think what people are starved for today is authentic emotion. And what it does is it's all about, again, people conveying this authentic, innate gratitude, appreciation, story. And so where the videos that we receive may not be, shot in 4K on a red camera, but in terms of what people want to watch, when people are watching a tribute, even if it's not for them, they're hooked because it's just real and it's deep and they get it. And so I think that it's providing a very niche need that people are aware of and oftentimes don't get a lot of with modern technology. Yeah,
no, that's true. And so so it's, you can do it for someone. You can also, it seems to me like in the case of a funeral, you're doing it for each other, really, in a way. I mean, you're tributing someone, but like, it's such a thing where everybody gets to participate. Does everybody get to see it potentially, or can you run it, like you can plug it in with the laptop and run it somewhere and all that sort of thing too,
Yeah, it's always up to our end user. So whoever creates a tribute and the recipient ultimately has kind of final power over who gets to see these videos. Right. And in terms of who they're for, it depends on the context, because it's like we do a lot of employee recognition for companies.
Oh, that's cool.
So, there's all sorts of research that talks about companies with strategic employee recognition programs perform 71% better. They have higher rates of retention. And so the idea of doing these types of videos for people who are celebrating 1, 5, 10 years at a company, it's like that video is certainly meaningful to the recipient, but also benefits the company in the long run, because then they're putting in more effort. It benefits. One of the most powerful things that we hear oftentimes about tributes is that it is a window into who someone really is. And oftentimes people don't even know this. It's for people who don't understand what their partner does at work, or their family doesn't understand what they do at work. So oftentimes we hear from people that they get these videos and it becomes one of the only ways that you can view the essence of somebody. So there's people, we said someone who's a director at a university, and he basically said one of the reasons that his tribute was so powerful is because he got to show this to his family, who knew that he was loved at school, but when they got to watch a video full of 30 students who talked about how fundamental his support was to their success, it changed how they saw their dad, changed how they saw their husband. Like it can transform how we know and connect with people. It's really cool.
That is cool. Yeah. Like I find that, folks that I know, like some on the podcast of folks that I've just met and now becoming friends with and colleagues with, and then I have friends that I've known a long time, and I learn more about them on a podcast than like, I'm always like, I didn't know that, So especially when you start talking, origin story or whatever, or like people start thinking about talking about their lives, right? And definitely when you're asking someone to tell somebody how they feel about someone else, that's super cool. I love the employee recognition stuff. And I was on the website, you do a booth too, right? And I know in-person events aren't going to be happening probably for a while, but we'll talk about that a little bit too, because that's really neat.
Yeah, it's really, we just had the capabilities. We had so many relationships with video editors, and we had so many clients and customers who had a desire for this at live events. So whether that was doing HD audio and video capture at a wedding, at a TEDx talk, whether that's at a conference. And so it was just a natural move for us to add that bonus service in there for people who wanted that really kind of high end capture and compilation.
That's so cool. And I mean, the normal price point is great too. It's $25.
It's, right? This is the beauty of technologies. I think that again, and we've always, approached this of, this is a product, people pay for it. It's a gift. It's something tangible that you give. We don't need to collect or use your data or sell that or monetize it in any way. It's not an ad model. And so, our primary objective is how to create the most meaningful gift on the planet, how to make people feel more connected in relationships. It's like our incentives with this product are aligned with the actual value that our customers are receiving, which I think in a lot of technology today is oftentimes at odds. It's the stuff that will make companies more money doesn't actually end up leaving the customers feeling better, more connected, more energized. And so I feel very grateful to be able to shepherd a company that, truly does have our users' best interest in mind. Yeah,
no, that's super cool. Where are you from?
I am from Hawaii.
What? Wow. Where in Hawaii?
Maui on the south side.
Oh, okay. I lived in Lahaina for a bit.
Okay, cool. I know it very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got bullied on all sorts of breaks around Front Street and Thousand Peaks.
Yeah. I think, did I do my first surf lesson? It was at the Boneyard.
Okay.
Is that right? At Kanapali? Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not a good surfer at all, but I love taking surfing lessons with really good surfers. I love doing that.
I have an analogy that I've heard. I love surfing. It's like my happy place. But there's a saying that says the best surfer in the water is whoever is having the most fun.
Yeah.
And so what is good,
Totally. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I know. my surfers he was like, Heather, what do surfers do the most of? And I said, I was like, well, it's like the Zen part of it and all that. And he was like, yes. But the other thing is they paddle. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But yeah, no, that's super cool. And so Hawaii, and then you're out of pocket right now. Where do you normally live?
I normally live in Brooklyn, New York, where my wife and my son and I have a house in Williamsburg.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I frequent New York. I have dear friends in Park Slope and Flatbush and Astoria and all of that too. So I have a big, big heart for New York and Brooklyn as well. And I hope all your people are doing well there.
Many have gotten sick. All of them are coming well. We have friends on the front lines who have, employees of theirs who are dying in hospitals. It's pretty nuts. But also I have a lot of stories of people who are resilient and fighting and supporting. And so all the things.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're Hawaii and then in New York, and you're in Santa Barbara right now. Yeah.
We are waiting out the plague in Santa Barbara.
Yeah. Understood. I know. I was telling Andrew earlier, I just moved. And so I'm not in my typical setup, but I was like, microphone, and then I put a box underneath my computer so you can see. Okay, so
You're doing great.
we're all rocking it out, in whatever way, shape, or form, and working from home and all of that stuff. Do you typically work from home, or is there an actual office, brick and mortar for Tribute?
So we had an office for our first 4 years, and then we started to move more international, and our dev team moved into Argentina. Our support team is located in Colombia. Our professional editing team is in Spain. And then, our core operations team is all over the US and nomadic. And so we decided to go full virtual about 3 years ago.
Wow, that's cool. And it's how many years old is it? 6?
6 years, yeah.
6. That's right. Wow. And so do you have a tech background? Like what's your comeuppance? How did you get?
My comeuppance is that I was a passionless, wandering college graduate when I was 21 years old, spending a lot of time in nightclubs and promoting to make money, and no idea what I wanted to do with my life or a real sense of self-worth. And then I ended up being reminded about the power of service right after I graduated from college. And I was an athlete for most of my life growing up, and I had an opportunity to support an organization that does adaptive athletics, sports for kids with disabilities, and recognized that experience as one that was really meaningful to me and something I was proud of. And so in a time that I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, what was going to make me feel good, I had this one grain of truth that when I helped others, I felt good. And so I decided to start my own nonprofit in Washington, D.C. called Dreams for Kids DC. And fast forward, what started as me doing these pro bono athletic clinics for young people with disabilities has since become one of the premier adaptive athletic providers in the Mid-Atlantic, and we partner with all the pro teams there to create these large-scale events for young people with both physical, developmental, cognitive disabilities, and ran that for 4 years. Was able to find an incredible woman to take that organization over, and they're still thriving and doing great stuff there. And then from there, I started to get more involved, basically as a consultant, a professional speaker, but really helping people to do what I seem to do well as a business person, which was public relations, creating a story that people could latch onto that motivated them to take action. And then 2 years after I left Dreams for Kids, I got the first Tribute, and then that is what inspired me to really go in there. And so that's kind of the long story short of how I ended up there.
Yeah, that's so cool. Wow. Let's talk about Shonda for a second. So we have a mutual friend. How do you two know each other? Because I bet it has to do with all the goodness and do-gooder work.
I met Shonda at a conference called the Summit Series. 2015, I think. That probably makes sense. Which I actually happened to meet my wife at Summit Series in 2012. So.
Wow. Prolific Summit. So we tell everybody about Summit. It's a really cool event.
Yeah. So the Summit Series has been called by Forbes as the millennial version of Davos. And so these incredible guys, Jeff Rosenthal, Elliot Bisnow, Brett Levy, Jeremy Schwartz, they started this community that does really a signature event once a year where they bring together thought leaders from a variety of industries to connect, educate one another, contribute. And then they also have purchased a ski mountain in Utah called Powder Mountain, where they have kind of a home base, and they do these ongoing events and salons. So it's very similar to Davos in that regard, but it's a really cool thing and powerful community for people who are entrepreneurial and creative.
Yeah, and a good place to meet wonderful people. So I almost went this year, actually. I had a friend, and I was speaking somewhere else, and I couldn't go, but she had a ticket for me, and I really, really wanted to go. So
cool. I would recommend it.
Yeah, that's awesome. With the company, we always talk a little bit, because I'm a marketer as well, and for you all, what's been your sort of best? Is it word of mouth? Is it, do you do social advertising? What's been for you sort of or is it a combo play? What's your thing?
Our primary marketing tactic is something that we call TOJ. And TOJ simply stands for Tears of Joy. And Kid you not,
Love it.
we track this statistic in our back end, and to date, 80% of people who receive a tribute video cry tears of joy when they watch their video.
Right.
And so literally probably about 95% of all of our traffic is the result of the direct virality of the product. People do it, they invite their friends, they enjoy it, they know someone that they want to get it for. And so, again, it's been nice to be able to create a product that has its own kind of propagation built into it, which is cool.
Yeah, it's that pay it forward. This is so awesome. You must do this.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's cool. So, and are there other pieces of integrations? And you said there's some new stuff coming. So, like partners or other ways you use this businessy and stuff.
Yeah, we work with all sorts of companies. We have a partnership with Bed Bath & Beyond. It's promoting something that we did with them recently, where they basically have like a virtual guest book. It's rather than just buying a present for somebody, why don't you send meaningful messages to, and all sorts of things like that. Whether it's nonprofit, employee recognition, marketing campaigns for people like Rent the Runway and Zappos. But what we have coming up later this year is we've actually going to be moving into the mobile space with our first app, and we're re-envisioning the tribute process of, rather than doing just a collaborative video montage, a group of people coming together for one person, we're really going to focus much more on one-to-one conversations. And so it's really focusing on these special occasions, birthdays, weddings, graduations, and providing a context for people to send meaningful video messages, which are much more akin to a greeting card than a full-on gift, but through the video medium.
Wow.
So that's truly like Hallmark 2.0.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. How about I guess, do you do things around I don't know, I guess, is it connecting people, or is that what's sort of coming? You know what I mean? Is it more I'm sending something to you because I know you kind of thing?
No, this is something that's really focused on providing a service for people that for the most part. So it's not a networking service. It really is. Yeah, we've always really thought of it. This is a gift. This is a product, and then as we move forward, it'll be just much more of a communication tool for people that do already have a relationship with one another.
That's cool. And how many of you kind of run the biz?
So right now there's a team of 7 of us who are doing this. So, so doing a lot with a small team, and we're hiring someone else this week, so it's actually going to grow to 8. And if the current trajectory continues to pick up, we'll be growing a little bit more. So it's been nice to see that trend happening, at year 6, and hopefully it continues. Yeah,
you made it past the first hump, right, of the 5 years, right? Yeah. Goodness, yeah. And I guess, what do you think as far as the tech? Was there something that was sort of the one thing that was just, we can't get this? Was there a sticky one that was really difficult? I know you talked about the video editing sort of magic sauce.
Yeah, building a video editor that has to work cross browser for different types of video files coming in was certainly the biggest tech challenge. And fortunately, I have a brilliant technologist co-founder who very much has managed the majority of that issue for the team.
Right, that's cool.
I get the fun job of getting it in front of as many people as possible.
That's perfect. Do you have a favorite moment? I mean, there's probably so many, the tears of joy, all the time, right? I don't know.
It's just every time we get a testimonial from these people, it's favorite moments would be, maybe one is going to present to 1,500 doctors at the Patient Experience Summit in Cleveland, and getting this into hundreds of hospitals so that people can get this to their patients. That's a big one. And so we just had a testimonial come in today of someone who couldn't be with their dad for their 80th birthday because he's immunocompromised, and so they got to do this with their entire family for their dad's 80th birthday because they couldn't be with him for this big celebration. And so every time I get one of those, it's just reaffirming why we do it, how important it is, and putting a fire back in our belly to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. We all need that right now, right? I think, because it's unsure and uncertain, and yet it's you got to stay positive, and Tribute certainly is doing that. What a cool thing. I'm so impressed, and I think it's so neat. I'm from a technology standpoint, I feel like it's so yummy. And then from a story and human standpoint, mean, you know this, but it's really, really, really cool. So yeah, I was so excited. I was reading through that with Sean and I was like, oh, what is this? I need to talk to him immediately. So I was like,
well, thank you for helping us to get the word out. And we're certainly excited to help while humanity finds itself in the midst of a very strange time.
Yeah, absolutely. So my last question in the that I told you is what is a moment, person, place, thing, book, that spark that really, seats you into like who you are in this moment today?
Yeah, I would say, I kind of touched on it briefly before, but I think it is the moment that I uncovered service as the foundation of any meaningful, fulfilling life. And it was just my father asking me a question of what's the last thing I've done that I'm proud of, realizing that while I had momentary blips of things that I was proud of, there wasn't really a sustained period of my life that came up for me until I went back to this 3-month period where I was volunteering for this nonprofit doing adaptive athletics. And that led me to start my first organization. It's grounded me in everything that I've ever really spent a significant amount of time in since, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. So I think that in terms of, I like to think of formative moments when you became who you are. And that for me, that understanding of service as just a driving force of my energy, my evolution, my contribution has been probably the most significant and as present as it's ever been.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you for sharing that with our listeners. That's very cool. Sometimes our dads ask us those really good questions,
I think it's much more valuable to ask people great questions than to tell them how to live their lives, because ultimately when they find out whatever answer makes sense for them on their own terms, they're going to be much more likely to sustainably take action from that place as opposed to something that they can intellectualize that they've been told.
Yeah, hear, hear. That's a quote of the day right there. Thank you. Well, you're a delight. I'm so happy to have met you and know about your beautiful company. And I'm just going to keep telling everybody I know for sure. And I wanted to do this quickly so that we could get the word out as well of the beautiful thing you're doing here. So, and I'm excited for the next iteration of everything too. And I think I've got some business stuff to send your way as well.
Yeah, totally. I'd love to see, thank you for helping us to get the word out, and maybe do some stuff with Microsoft, or who knows, whatever's on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think lots of clients, and lots of clients or listeners too, that, they do, I talk a lot about corporate culture, healthy corporate culture. It's kind of a big passion of mine. I have a whole blog series about kicking fear and toxicity out of the workplace, and employee retention and employee engagement and stuff. And I think this is a great tool for that. And it can be definitely something that I tweet in their ears too. So for sure. So yeah, right on. Well, cool.
Well, thanks. Yeah. Thanks for taking the time to chat, Heather.
You bet, Andrew. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, that has been another episode of the Mavens Do It Better podcast. And here is to another big, beautiful, safe day where we wash our hands on this big blue spinning sphere. Thanks, everybody. See ya. The original music on this podcast was created by Jesse Case.